Okay, so we're gonna try something different today. Yes, my bed's not made, and yes, those are 2 belts. Because I am. Where's my glasses? Where's my glasses? There it is. 1 second. This will make sense in another video that's coming up soon. Yeah. You know, I'm the Mr. Knockout Champion and declared boxing world champion. Got both belts. Take that, Brandon. I have both belts. You have none. Suck it. Both these belts were made by my brother for a birthday gift last year. But they're made by my brother as a birthday gift, which, I don't know. For a bit, they might sit there while that desk does whatever. They might just sit there. I might make that desk into something cool. Like have a backdrop for my videos. But today we're gonna react to something different. I'm a big regular show fan, so we're gonna watch the most loved to versus most hated regular show characters. It's about 20 minutes long, so bear with me.
Every regular show fan has their favorite park crew member, and the ones they wish never showed up. Today, we're breaking down the most loved versus most hated characters from the show that defined chaotic cartoon energy. And trust me, the final character on this list left fans in tears. Let's kick things off with the Blue Jay who started it all, Mordecai. He's the everyman of regular show. Fans instantly connected with his laid-back vibe, sarcastic humor, and painfully relatable struggle to figure out adulthood. Whether it's slacking off at the park or trying to impress Margaret. I'm sorry for acting weird.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Dude, it won't be the last. Mordecai's basically all of us in our early 20s, stuck between being responsible and wanting to play video games all day. What the heck? But what makes Mordecai so loved isn't just his cool, chill personality, it's his loyalty. No matter how ridiculous things get, he always looks out for his best friend Rigby. Even when Rigby's the one who caused the chaos in the first place. Like the time Mordecai had to clean up Rigby's mess after they unleashed the power of the keyboard. That made everything they typed become real. Sure, Mordecai has made some questionable decisions. Who could forget how awkward and messy his love life was? But that's exactly why fans relate to him. He's flawed, but he's trying. And every time he steps up to fix the disaster of the week, it shows how much he cares about his friends in the park, even if he pretends like he doesn't. One of the best examples of Mordecai's heart comes when he sacrifices himself to help Pops in the battle against Anti-Pops, even though he knows it could be the end of everything.
I mean, I know the show's like, it's been, what, 10 years since it's ended? This is a horrible angle. Let me switch. Let me get my tripod. This is a horrible angle. Okay, I guess it's okay. I guess we have a standing video now. Which, what? Can this go higher? No, we can't. That's the highest it goes. Okay, well, let's watch it.
That moment sealed it for a lot of fans. Mordecai isn't just a slacker, he's a real hero at heart. And honestly, the regular show wouldn't be regular show without him. But not everyone in this series earns fan love like Mordecai. In fact, our next character had fans yelling at their screens every time she showed up. Now, let's talk about Margaret, the character who frustrated regular show fans more than almost anyone else. On paper, she seems like the perfect girl next door. Kind, polite, works at a coffee shop.
Yeah, cool.
Wait, you're going?
Yeah, I am. I know they're kind of old, but I remember them from when I was a kid. Besides, everyone is going to be there.
But the more she appeared, the more fans grew tired of her. The problem wasn't just Margaret herself, it was how she treated Mordecai. She constantly sent mixed signals, acting like she was into him one minute, and then pulling away the next. This dragged on for seasons and made Mordecai's storylines painfully awkward to watch. Fans even joked that every time Margaret showed up, the episode instantly turned into a cringe fest. One of the most frustrating moments was when Margaret decided to leave for college, right after Mordecai finally worked up the courage to confess his feelings.
Actually go somewhere. But there's this. I got into my dream school.
That single move erased all of Mordecai's emotional buildup. making fans question why they invested in this romance at all. It felt like the writers kept dangling a relationship that was never going to work. And fans were over it. And when she came back later in the show, things didn't get any better. Instead of offering closure, she just stirred up more drama, making Mordecai's already messy love life even worse.
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry for all that stuff I said before. I was kind of freaking out, and I never should have doubted you.
A lot of viewers felt like her return added nothing but unnecessary tension, slowing down the show's usual wild, hilarious pace. Even though Margaret isn't an out...
I mean, they're not paying me, but where deodorant. That's a good message. Yeah, I'll let this ad play out. It's a good message. Where deodorant. Well, no, I drove a Corolla. There's a Toyota commercial I would have.
Mordecai's never-ending relationship struggles earned her a spot on the most hated list. Fans didn't tune in to watch awkward love triangles. They wanted cosmic battles and ridiculous park adventures. But speaking of fan favorites, let's jump back to one of the show's most chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly lovable characters, the raccoon who never grew up. Next up is Mordecai's partner in crime, and everyone's favorite troublemaker, Rugby. At first glance, Rugby seems like the worst. He's immature, selfish, and constantly makes things worse for everyone around him.
How much you want to bet this is Margaret's pie? Hey, Margaret, how's it going?
But by the end of regular show, Rugby became one of the most loved characters, thanks to something fans can't resist, real growth. Rugby starts off as the chaotic raccoon who's allergic to responsibility.
How did you get that? I have my methods.
Whether it's slacking off, lying,
Bill
or
season
dragging
starts soon.
Mordecai into ridiculous schemes,
Please,
he's the
Josh
guy who does
Allen,
everything 10
beg
times
you
harder.
win.
Like the time he faked being sick just to get out of work,
You know.
which literally caused a massive virus monster to attack the park. But what fans love about Rugby is how he doesn't stay that guy forever. Throughout the series, Rugby shows some of the best character development in any cartoon. He works on himself. He apologizes when he screws up. And most importantly, he becomes a true friend. Not just to Mordecai, but to everyone in the park. One of the biggest turning points is when Rugby finally graduates high school, proving to himself and everyone else that he's capable of changing.
She's smart and cool and loves rocks and modern dance. Why wouldn't be standing up here if that was all there was to it?
And when it came to the series' emotional final arc, Rugby showed more heart than anyone. He was the first to forgive Mordecai after their falling out, and he risked everything to save the universe alongside Pops and the gang. That's why fans love Rugby. He's proof that even the biggest screw-up can turn things around if they're willing to grow. So if you've loved it so far, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Who's your most loved and most hated regular show character? But not everyone in regular show got the same redemption arc. Our next character is one fan couldn't stand from the moment he first appeared. Now let's talk about a character that fans universally despise. Not because he's cringy or awkward, but because he's straight up the worst. Garrett Bobby Ferguson, or GBF, is the definition of a sore loser, and one of the most obnoxious villains in regular show. GBF is a giant floating head with tiny arms and an ego
This
bigger
was
than the universe.
disgusting.
He first shows up in an arcade showdown, cheating his way to keep the high score and throwing a full-blown tantrum when Mordecai and Rugby beat him.
So dumb. What? I didn't devote my life to this cruddy game. It's just a hobby.
Fans hated him because he wasn't just a bad guy, he was that guy. The guy who talks trash, bends the rules, and can't stand to lose. Every time he appeared, you knew you were in for an episode full of arrogance, yelling, and cheating. What pushed GBF over?
I mean, he was only there for
wasn't
like
just
2
his
episodes,
attitude,
maybe
it
3.
was how over the top and petty he was. In one of the show's wildest moments, he literally self-destructed after losing a video game, blowing himself up out of pure rage. And just when fans thought they were done with him, the show brought in his son, GBF Jr., who was
Much
somehow
better,
even
you'll see.
more annoying and desperate to continue his dad's legacy of being hated. GBF isn't hated in a love-to-hate kind of way. He's hated because he's everything regular show fans despise, unfair, entitled, and loud, without ever learning a single lesson. But while GBF was busy cheating and exploding, the next character on this list was earning laughs and surprising fans with his hidden heart. Up next is the green-skinned, gut-hanging-out wildcard who went from annoying side character to one of the show's most loved, Muscle Man. At first, Muscle Man seems like the park's biggest headache. He's gross, loud, and won't shut up about my mom jokes. But over time, fans realize there's a lot more to him than bad punchlines. Muscle Man is one of the few characters who's unapologetically himself. He's the guy who will rip his shirt off and start yelling for no reason. But when things get serious, he's the first one to throw down for his friends. One of the clearest examples of this is when he helps Mordecai and Rugby win the big video game tournament by actually being a competent player.
Let's finish this.
What made fans really fall in love with Muscle Man, though, wasn't just his chaotic energy, it was his heart. His relationship with Starla is one of the most unexpectedly wholesome romances in the entire series. Behind all the jokes and shouting, Muscle Man genuinely loves her. And their weird,
100%.
over-the-top affection actually became one of the show's sweetest storylines.
I look at you.
Especially the ending, like in the last
Someone
scene
who
of
is
them.
fragile and vulnerable deep down. Someone who has feeling. That someone is me, Mitch Sorenstein.
But Muscle Man's best moments aren't just about his relationship. He's also the guy who steps up when no one else will. During the series finale, Muscle Man fights alongside the park crew to save the universe without hesitation.
Last words, bitch. You know who else grows really big to show their dominance, but is actually really small deep down?
By the end of regular show, fans realized that Muscle Man might have started off as the gross, obnoxious guy, but he ended up being one of the most loyal, brave, and downright hilarious characters in the entire series. Unfortunately, not every
100%.
character got that kind of glow up. Our next entry is a character fans never wanted in the first place, and she made sure to make things messy every time she appeared. Next up is one of the most controversial characters in regular show history, CJ, or
I like CJ more than Margaret.
Cloudy J. On the surface, CJ seemed like a cool addition to the show. Fun, adventurous, and way more outgoing than Margaret. But the more she appeared, the more fans started to hate her. The biggest reason fans couldn't stand CJ wasn't because she was a bad person. It's because her entire existence felt forced. After Margaret left for college, the show introduced CJ to fill the romantic void in Mordecai's life, but instead of making things better, she made them even messier. One of CJ's worst moments came when she lost her temper at a New Year's party and literally turned into a raging storm cloud, causing chaos for everyone around her. Fans felt like she was written to be unpredictable and emotionally unstable, making every relationship scene stressful to watch. Instead of adding fun energy, CJ's presence often slowed down the show's pacing and overshadowed the insane cosmic adventures regular show was known for. Even when CJ's character was given depth, like in the episode where she shares her insecurities about being compared to Margaret, fans still couldn't shake the feeling that her presence was more of a distraction than anything else.
I already know what you're gonna say, so save it. You don't know who your soulmate is? Here. You didn't even point in my direction.
For many viewers, CJ wasn't just a cloud. She was a cloud hanging over the entire show's momentum. But let's move away from the drama and back to a character who brought nothing but kindness, loyalty, and smiles. Let's
Eileen.
talk about one of the most wholesome and underrated characters in regular show, Eileen. She
Eileen
might have
was
started
sick.
as a quiet
I liked
background character
Eileen.
working at the coffee shop, but by the end of the series, Eileen had earned her place as one of the most loved characters in the entire show. Eileen
She's
stood out
that
because,
bitch.
unlike almost everyone else, she was normal. No over-the-top antics, no screaming, no constant need to cause chaos. But that's exactly why fans loved her. She was smart, sweet, and always supportive, especially when it came to Rugby. One of her best moments came when she helped Rugby pass his high school equivalency test, encouraging him and believing in him when no one else did.
Don't worry, Rigby. It's so cool you're going to be on that show. I'm bummed I can't be there for your graduation because I'm graduating from college.
No problem.
That episode was a huge turning point, not just for Rugby, but for Eileen's relationship with him. Fans loved how their connection grew naturally over time, without unnecessary drama. Eileen also proved she wasn't just a side character. She became part of the crew's wild adventures and handled the insanity better than almost anyone else. Like the time she and Margaret teamed up with Mordecai and Rugby in a video game tournament. and she showed off her surprising gaming skills. But what truly sealed
I
her
remember
place
that
in
episode.
fans' hearts was
I
how
don't
she
remember it.
grounded Rigby. She helped him mature, face his flaws, and become a better person. Their relationship was one of the few that felt genuine, and by the series finale, they were one of the show's most solid couples. Eileen wasn't flashy, but she didn't need to be. She was the heart of the show's quieter, more meaningful moments, and fans appreciated every second she was on screen. Unfortunately, the next character wasn't nearly as well received.
Mallard?
In fact, many fans think he should have been fired from the park on day one. Now it's time to talk about a character who might have been the park's owner, but was never anyone's favorite, Mr. Mullard. From the moment he
Mallard.
appeared, fans couldn't stand his grumpy, entitled attitude, and it's easy to see why. Mr. Mullard is Benson's boss and the guy who technically owns the park, but instead of being a wise, supportive leader, he's cold, dismissive, and constantly blaming Benson for problems that aren't even his fault, while Benson spends every episode trying to keep the park from falling apart.
Mr. Mallard! Mr. Mallard! Benson, get a hold of yourself.
The theory he owned all the parks, like Green Sparks and then all the other ones. Because this was called Park. That was the park name, Park.
Please, just give us one more shot. That's all I've got.
Mullard is usually yelling at him or threatening to fire him, making fans wonder why Benson even puts up with him. One of the worst things about Mr. Mallard is how little he cares about anyone else. He barely interacts with Mordecai, Rigby, or the rest of the crew, and when he does,
Well, he
it's
just
usually to
pops
complain or make
Benson.
their lives harder.
His Pops is like his adoptive father, and Benson's like the manager, so makes sense. The owner doesn't really talk to the employees.
Like the time he forced Benson to plan a
Mr. Campbell, I remembered and left something in the bathroom. Deuces. Parker out.
last-minute party for his spoiled,
I don't know what that was
obnoxious
called.
son, even though everyone at the park was already overworked. Fans also didn't like how one-dimensional he felt. In a show full of colorful, weird, lovable characters, Mr. Mallard was just mean. No growth, no funny moments, no redemption. He was basically a cartoon version of every terrible boss you've ever had. Even in the
Yes,
show's
that's
biggest,
the
most
point.
emotional moments, Mallard stayed cold and distant, never showing the kind of loyalty or heart that made the park crew so beloved. By the end of the series, fans were far more invested in Benson and the gang, and Mallard was just the grumpy old millionaire no one missed. But now it's time to talk about the most important character on the loved list, the one who made fans laugh, smile, and cry all at once.
Pops.
Stop! We can all be turds! Oh, hey, Bob.
And finally, we've saved the most important and beloved character for last, Pops. From the very first episode, Pops stood out as the sweetest, weirdest, and most innocent character in regular show. Fans adored him not just for his childlike wonder, but because beneath all the silliness, Pops had the biggest heart of anyone in the entire series.
Hello, Mordecai, Rigby, did you see that there's donuts here? Oh, Pops, did you eat an apple fritter? Why, yes, I did eat an apple fritter. Vincent told us not to let anyone touch those. Oh my, I hope I haven't caused you any trouble.
Pops was known for his goofy laugh, over-the-top politeness, and total lack of understanding of how the real world worked. Whether it was getting excited over simple things like birthday parties or being amazed by the smallest gestures, Pops was the purest soul in a show full of chaos. But what made Pops go from funny side character to fan-favorite legend was how much he cared about his friends. No matter how dangerous or ridiculous the situation, Pops always tried to see the good in everyone, even when he probably shouldn't. And then came the moment that changed everything, the final battle against Anti-Pops. Throughout the entire final season, fans watched as Pops learned the truth about who he really was, the embodiment of good, destined to fight his evil twin. In one of the most emotional scenes in cartoon history, Pops sacrifices himself to save the universe and his friends, saying goodbye with a simple, heartbreaking message. That moment hit
Every time
fans
I
like
watch
a
this
truck.
episode, it made
The
me
entire
cry.
show, filled with cosmic battles, ridiculous jokes, and workplace shenanigans, ended on the most emotional, bittersweet note, all because of Pops. He wasn't just a comic relief character. He was the heart
He chased butterflies. He loved to laugh. He saved the universe. He was our friend. Pops only lived.
of a regular show, and his final act of kindness and selflessness left a mark on every single fan. These regular show icons made us laugh, cringe, or almost cry by the finale. But if you thought this list was wild, you haven't seen anything yet. Click now to watch another round of the most loved versus most hated characters. Trust me, you won't believe who's on that list.
That was a good video. I really enjoyed that. Everyone go subscribe to wrestling. This guy's a wrestling channel. Oh, wait, that's the wrong video.
Every regular show fan has their favorite.
Yeah, there we go. But still, give this video a like, sub. You know, sub. Yeah. I'm going. We'll react to a bunch more. Like you can see here, we have a big compilation of things to react to. There's a lot. Next video will probably be this one, and then Mystery Payback, whatever. But peace out.